Okay, so today is Thursday, the 17th of October 2024, and we're having the pre-New York session analysis. Good afternoon, Bolaji, Sonny, and Kele. You're all welcome on board. So we have this afternoon, we have quite a number of fundamental events, from the Eurozone, United States, and okay, both the Eurozone and United States, those are the two regions. So by 1:15 p.m., there's going to be the main refinancing rate and monetary policy statement from the Eurozone by 1:15 p.m. And by 1:30 p.m., there's going to be the core retail sales, the retail sales, unemployment claims, and Philly Fed manufacturing index, all from the United States by 1:30 p.m. And by 1:45 p.m., from the Eurozone again, the European Central Bank uh, will be having a press conference by 1:45 p.m. And by 4 p.m. later today, there'll be crude oil inventories from the United States. But our attention is going to be more focused on the USD news by 1:30 p.m. So we're going to be looking at the core retail sales, the retail sales, and the unemployment claims. Those are the instruments, those are the news events we're going to be paying more attention to compared to the others. So we'll look at the Uh, okay, the news from the Eurozone could actually move the market. Maybe we shouldn't. I just don't want us to have too many things to look at so that some of us don't get it confused. But then, okay, we'll look at the euro. We'll look at the euro by 1:15. Then we'll look at the USD by 1:30. So let's start with the euro. Now, from the Eurozone by 1:15, we have the main refinancing rate, and that is the interest rate on the main refinancing operations that provide the bulk of liquidity to the banking system, and actual greater than forecast is good for the currency. And the monetary policy statement, the effect is that if it's more hawkish than expected, then that be good for the currency. So this statement is a speech. The main refinancing rates, we have the forecast. The forecast is 3.40. So if the actual is greater than the forecast, we'll be expecting a bullish movement on the euro pairs. If the actual is greater, that is, if we have a data with a color green, then we'll be looking to buy the euro pairs. I'll still show us the specific euro pairs to trade. And if the actual comes out less than the forecast, we're going to be looking at selling, the euro. Now, for the monetary policy statement, that is a speech. We don't have a control over that one. Whatever the outcome is, we'll see the impact in the market. And for the dollar, the core retail sales measures the change in the total value of sales at the retail level, excluding the automobiles. And actual greater than forecast is good for the currency. For retail sales, it measures the change in the total value of sales at the retail level, and actual greater than forecast again is good for the currency. And for unemployment claims, is the number of individuals who filed for unemployment insurance for the first time during the past week. Actual less than forecast for this is good for the currency. So you can see that the unemployment claims is not really related with the other ones, and as in with the earlier ones I mentioned. And the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index is the level of a diffusion index based on surveyed manufacturers in Philadelphia. An actual greater than forecast is good for the currency. All right, so we have the unemployment claims where the actual less than forecast will be good for the currency, while for the other ones, actual greater than forecast is good for the currency. But generally, what we're going to be looking out for is this: if the data comes out all good for the currency, then that will lead us to having a massive bullish movement on the United States dollar. And if all events come out bad for the dollar, that is, we have a scenario where all comes out red, we're looking at selling the United States dollar. Now, some of these events are not related in any way. So it's possible to have maybe the core retail sales being green, unemployment claims could be red, and that can lead to some spikes in the market, a buying and selling that will happen simultaneously. But the best outcome this afternoon is completely if we have green all through for a buy and green for a sell. So we're going to be looking at just the Euro events by 1:15 and the United States dollar event by 1:30. Other events, can be traded independently later in the course of the day. All right, so I'll flip over now to the my charts so that we can look at the technical projections ahead of this event. Now, there are two Euro pairs I'll be paying attention to for this uh, event this afternoon. Please, as you join this class, kindly mute your device so that you don't distract the class. So I'll be looking at the Euro AUD and the Euro New Zealand. I'll be paying a lot of attention to these two pairs for the Euro news, which is coming up just about 35 minutes from now. All right, so this is the Euro New Zealand, and I've had a bearish outlook on this instrument right from the beginning of the week, and I still maintain my bearish outlook. Now we can see that this instrument is trading in a big picture. This is the daily time frame, and we can see a pattern that is forming, which is like a symmetrical triangle. But then that's not the main thing we're looking at. Where the focus will be is here. We have price trending downwards. We have price trending downwards on the trend line. Price hit the trend line the third time. And yesterday, price touched the trend line again and closed as a rejection candle on the daily time frame. And with a rejection candle on a daily time frame, not only on daily time frame rejection, we also have a scenario of a support turned resistance here. So technically, we're looking for an opportunity to sell the Euro New Zealand. So if the news by 150 comes out bad for the Euro, then you can look at selling the Euro New Zealand. We're bearish on the Euro New Zealand. And the Euro AUD also, I've been bearish on this Euro AUD also for the week. So this is Euro AUD on the daily time frame, and we can clearly see that we have a descending channel. Price has been trending downwards. We have some lower highs here, and price touched the trend line again the third time, and we're having a candlestick pattern, sorry, chart pattern here that is looking a lot like a double top, which is expected to lead to a further bearish continuation. And not only that, we equally have, a kind of a support turned resistance in this zone. All right. So we have a support on resistance there, which is expected to lead us to a further decline on the Euro AUD. So technically, I'm bearish on both the Euro New Zealand and the Euro AUD. So if the news this afternoon comes out bad for the Euro, then you should be looking at selling any of these two currency pairs. Now, what about a scenario where the news comes out good for the euro? If it comes out good for the euro, well, there could be some retracement, and I expect possibly further continuation afterwards. But my main emphasis this afternoon, for clarity, is I'm bearish on the euro New Zealand, and that's what I'll be looking out for. Any other setup, I may just personally ignore it. I'm bearish on the euro, New Zealand, and euro AUD ahead of the news by 1:15 p.m. That's the main refinancing rate and the monetary policy statement, all coming from the Eurozone. And for the dollar-based news by 1:30 p.m., I'll be looking at the USD CAD and the USD CHF. Now, dollar has not been so stable, though generally, technically, I mean, let me say generally bullish, but we can't see some key levels on the chart. But then I'm seeing some kind of insight on the USD CHF, which I can, make use of. The dollar index is not giving me the kind of outlook I really, would love to see. But from the USD CHF, this is what I can see at the moment. On the weekly time frame, I can see that price hits a resistance, a minor resistance level. That's this minor resistance level here. Earlier today, price got to that level, and we may be expecting some decline in price if the news comes out bad for the dollar. So this is the dollar, the USD again on the 4-hour time frame, and we have a rising wedge pattern. So if the news comes out bad for the dollar, then you should be expecting a bearish breakout on the USD CHF. So for the dollar news, I'm bearish on the USD CHF. And like I said earlier, I'm also bearish on the USD CAD. Now, I've had a bearish outlook on the USD CAD, right from the beginning of the week. I even gave a signal on it 2 days ago, which finally triggered into profit, I think late last night or early this morning, thereabout. So this is the USD CAD on the daily time frame. Let's go over to the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, we can see that price hit an inner resistance right there, specifically this candle and this candle. Others are within what we can call the zone, the resistance zone on the weekly time frame, which covers all these high points of price. So the candle for this week also touched the lower part of that resistance zone, and that is what resulted into the rejection candle that we found a couple of days, or about 3 days ago. That's this rejection candle. So we have a resistance on the weekly and daily time frame and a rejection candle on the daily time frame. Then if we flip down to the 4-hour time frame, what I can interpret happening at the moment is a formation of a head and a shoulder pattern. So if the news comes out bad for the dollar, then I'll be expecting a breakout into the bearish direction. So I'm bearish on both the USD CAD and the USD CHF ahead of the news by 1:30 p.m. And finally, I'll be looking at the AUD USD. So if the news comes out bad for the dollar, as we anticipate from our technical projections, then we can clearly see that the AUD USD is getting ready for a bullish movement. Now, there's the AUD USD on the daily time frame. Price is trading within a channel, but the emphasis is not really much on the channel. The emphasis is this on the 4-hour time frame. You can see that price came quite close to this support zone on the 4-hour, a fallout or the fundamental event that happened overnight from Australia, where the news came out. I think it came out good for the AUD. So price is now trying to form an inverse head and shoulder pattern, which will trigger an upward bullish movement on the AUD USD. So I can draw my trend line here again and draw a second one at the back to form a falling wedge pattern. So price is trading around the support level, an inverse head and shoulder formation with a falling wedge. Technically, we're looking at buying the AUD USD. So the only confirmation for us to buy also is the fact that we're bearish on the dollar, we're bearish on the USD CHF and the USD CAD. So again, if the news comes out bad for the dollar, as in bad all through, we have red, red, red scenario all through, we can trigger a buy on the AUD USD. So in summary, I'm bearish on the Euro AUD, and Euro New Zealand for the Euro News by 1:15 p.m. And I'm bearish on the dollar. I'm bearish on the USD CHF, USD CAD, and also on the other side, I'm bullish on the AUD USD ahead of the dollar news by 1:30 p.m. All right, so that'll be my analysis this afternoon. If you have a question, you can post it. I'll respond to you as we gradually round up. So this is PU Prime. We're a global brand. If you're there, you don't have an account with PU Prime, please head over straight to our website, www.puprime.com, and open a live trading account. And your account manager will reach out to you to walk you through the entire verification process to get started. All right. Pardon me, I can't pronounce this name properly. King J. What do you see on gold? Now, gold has not been, the dollar itself has not been so stable, and we've not gotten quite some clarity around gold for a while. But what I can see at the moment is that it looks like gold is trying to trade around a resistance level on the daily time frame. That's what I can see technically. But then the next move of gold will be determined by the outcome of the dollar this afternoon. If the news comes out bad for the dollar, then it means gold may end up breaking this resistance level up there. But on the other hand, if the news comes out good for the dollar, which is a scenario we didn't really explore, if the news comes out good for the dollar, then you actually may be looking at selling gold. If the news comes out good for the dollar, you may look at selling gold. Euro USD. Okay, so let's look at the Euro USD. You're welcome, King J. There's not much clarity technically on the Euro USD, but if the dollar goes bearish, we might see some reversal, on the Euro USD. That is, if the news comes out bad for the dollar, Euro USD may reverse from this point. But technically, there's no setup for Euro USD. At least the way I trade at the moment, I'm not seeing any clarity for trading Euro USD. So let's just focus on the ones that we have set up on. No setup on the Euro USD at the moment. Okay, Mr. Raji is asking to check NAS 100. All right, so this is NAS 100. Let me draw the lines again. Now, NAS 100, this is NAS 100 on a 4-hour time frame. On the weekly time frame, price actually hits a resistance level earlier in the course of this week. So price hit a resistance up there on the weekly time frame, and that technically that should lead us to a reversal in price on last 100. But that's the weekly time frame, so we have to flip down. We have to do our complete top-down analysis. So on the weekly time frame, price hit a resistance. On the daily time frame, 2 days ago, the market ended with a bearish engulfing candlestick pattern, which should also lead to a bearish movement. Even though yesterday and today now, it's like we're not seeing that bearish movement. On the 4-hour time frame, what we can see at the moment, or what I can see at the moment, is the formation of what looks a lot like a head and shoulder pattern, which might lead to a bearish breakout. Now, I'm also seeing the formation of a rising wedge pattern. All right, so we also have a rising wedge pattern over there. So if everything goes as planned, price is expected to break out downwards from here. But then it's also possible if there's extreme volatility, price may still come up here to hit this resistance or touch the trend line, any of the two, before finally declining. That is also a possibility. So if that is what happens, that will invalidate the head and shoulder setup. But what is important is that we're expecting a breakout in the bearish direction. Now, this is a setup from the weekly down to 4 hours, so it's going to be a swing setup. So I will advise you trade this with a lot of caution. Trade this with a lot of caution. So two things we're looking at: possibility of price hitting resistance before declining, or price forming a head and shoulder at the weekly resistance and breaking out. All right, so that's my view. I'm bearish on NAS 100. You're welcome, Mr. Raji. Kile, by the inverse relationship of USD CAD and USD JPY, is it the right assumption that the opposite will be the movement of USD JPY as per your analysis? There is no inverse relationship between USD JPY and USD CAD. They are both positively correlated. The dollar is a base currency. Technically, they are expected to go in the same direction, but there are also there are times when such may not happen due to many factors, fundamentals and other factors. But then uh, what I always don't like to do is to say because this one is going to sell. So if I say that USD CAD is going to sell, then now go and sell USD JPY. USD JPY doesn't give you a setup for yourself. Please just ignore it. You look only at setup that are giving you the right outlook for market to go in a certain direction. So that I said the dollar is bearish. To be honest, it's only I'm looking more at the USD CHF and the USD CAD. Those are the two emphasis. USD JPY is out of the question for now. All right, so that's going to be all this afternoon. Trade safe and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye bye. You're welcome, Kele.